Brigantine is one of the more interesting shore towns in South Jersey because it gives people something that's getting harder and harder to find at the Jersey Shore. That's space. So Brigantine is more quiet, less density, wider feeling streets, less congestion, and a slower overall pace compared to a lot of surrounding beach towns. At the same time, you are still only minutes from Atlantic City. So for a lot of buyers, Brigantine ends up becoming this really interesting middle ground between a quieter residential shore town and having quick access to restaurants, casinos, nightlife, and entertainment. In this video, I'm gonna break down what living in Brigantine is actually like year-round, the housing inventory, the different sections of towns, the off-season feel, the buyer profile, why Brigantine has become increasingly attractive to New York and North Jersey buyers, and why a lot of people think this might still be one of the more underrated shore towns in all of New Jersey. Hi, I'm Mike Sutley with the Lexi Roadie Group at Keller Williams Jersey Shore. My team and I help people just like you buy, sell, and invest across the Jersey Shore, and most importantly, make sure they choose the right fit the first time around. Because every Jersey Shore town has a complete different personality, and Brigantine has a very different feel than places like Ocean City, Wildwood, Longport, Avalon, or Sea Isle. Now, geographically, Brigantine sits just north of Atlantic City on its own island. And one of the biggest things people notice almost immediately is how much less dense it feels compared to many of the other shore towns nearby. There's simply more breathing room here. The streets feel wider, certain neighborhoods feel more residential. There's less of tightly packed shore town feeling you get in some areas farther south. And for a lot of buyers, that becomes a major selling point. One of the biggest things we see with people moving toward Brigantine is that they're usually looking for a quieter overall lifestyle. That doesn't mean dead or isolated. It just means calmer and more peaceful. People that love Brigantine usually appreciate the fact that they can still enjoy the beach town lifestyle without constantly feeling like you are in the middle of heavy summer chaos all the time. Even during peak season, Brigantine generally feels more relaxed than many other shore towns. Traffic tends to feel more manageable, the beaches feel less crowded in many sections, the streets feel quieter overall, and there's a much more residential atmosphere throughout large portions of town. Now, at the same time, one of Brigantine's biggest advantages is its proximity to Atlantic City. Within a short drive, you suddenly have access to major restaurants, casinos, nightlife, concerts, shopping, and entertainment that most shore towns simply don't have nearby. And that combination is hard to replicate because there are buyers who want access to activity and convenience, but they don't necessarily want to live directly in the middle of it every single day. Brigantine solves that problem really well. Now, another thing that's happening over the last several years is Brigantine has continued seeing more influence from New York and North Jersey buyers. A lot of people coming from North Jersey, New York, and even parts of northern Pennsylvania are drawn to Brigantine because it feels more relaxed, more residential, and often more accessible price-wise compared to some of the southern Cape May County shore towns. And as more of those buyers continue coming in, you're seeing more redevelopment, more renovations, and increasing demand overall. Now, from a housing inventory standpoint, Brigantine has a pretty wide mix of property types. You'll see mainly single-family homes with a mix of condos, townhomes, duplexes, older beach cottages, bayfront properties, golf course homes, and increasingly more new construction throughout town. And compared to some other shore markets, buyers can still sometimes find more favorable pricing here relative to lot size, square footage, and proximity to the beach. That's one of the main reasons Brigantine keeps showing up on more buyers' radar, especially for people who compare pricing to, say, Avalon, Stone Harbor, Longport, or even certain parts of Ocean City, and start looking for more value without completely sacrificing lifestyle. Now, one thing we walk buyers through all the time is understanding that Brigantine is still evolving. The town has been increasingly focused on maintaining the lower density residential character that many people love about it. You've seen more conversations around zoning, development limitations, and preserving the overall feel of the island rather than allowing overdevelopment to completely reshape the town. And for many longtime owners, that matters a lot. because part of Brigantine's appeal is that it still feels a little less overbuilt compared to some surrounding shore towns. Now, with that being said, Redevelopment is absolutely happening here. Teardowns have become increasingly common throughout Brigantine, especially as buyers purchase older homes or stronger lots and replace them with larger new construction properties. And honestly, that trend is probably going to continue for a long time because Brigantine still has many older homes sitting on valuable land. Now, another unique part of Brigantine is the golf course area. The Brigantine Golf Links creates a completely different section of town compared to the traditional beach neighborhoods. Certain homes back directly onto the golf course, and the overall atmosphere there tends to feel quieter and more residential overall because it's located in the north end of Brigantine. For some buyers, that becomes a huge draw because it creates a different type of shore town environment than a typical beach block setup. Then, you have one of the more unique features anywhere at the Jersey Shore, what is referred to as the Cove. This is a four-wheel drive beach access area that allows you access to the beach and inlet. That's something that gives Brigantine a completely different personality than many surrounding shore towns. People fish there, drive onto the beach, spend entire days out there, they surf at the jetty, and it creates a much more outdoors-oriented lifestyle component that a lot of buyers really love. And if you spend enough time in Brigantine, you'll notice people there tend to be very loyal to the town. A lot of owners generally feel like Brigantine is underrated compared to the Jersey Shore markets. Part of that is because it doesn't always get talked about with the same attention as places farther in, say, Cape May County, or some of the other nationally recognized Jersey Shore destinations. But for the buyers that fit Brigantine well, the lower profile identity is exactly part of the appeal. Now, from a school perspective, Brigantine also benefits from having stronger year-round community than many people initially expect. Students attend Brigantine Community School through 8th grade and then move on to Atlantic City High School or choose to pay for Holy Spirit High School. And because Brigantine maintains a meaningful full-time population, there's a much stronger local community feel throughout the year than people sometimes assume when they first look at the island. Now, the off-season here feels very different than peak summer. Once the season slows down, Brigantine becomes extremely quiet in many sections. The beaches open up, traffic disappears, the pace slows down dramatically, and the town takes on a much more local residential atmosphere overall. Some people absolutely love that. Other buyers realize they want more off-season activity, restaurants, social energy than Brigantine typically offers during the winter months. Again, it comes down to what your personality wants from a beach town. Now, generally speaking, the buyers that tend to be happiest long-term in Brigantine usually value a few specific things. They usually want quieter beaches, less density, more residential surroundings, better relative value compared to some of the other shore towns, easier parking, a slower pace, and many still want convenient access to Atlantic City nightlife and restaurants without living directly inside Atlantic City itself. Brigantine also tends to attract people who enjoy more outdoors-oriented lifestyle, fishing, boating, beach driving, golf, long beach walks, and a generally calmer shore experience overall. But Brigantine probably isn't the perfect fit for everybody. If you want heavy nightlife directly in town, nonstop walkability to large restaurant districts, extremely high-end luxury shopping areas, or very social summer scene, there are other shore towns that may fit you better, and that's completely okay. Every Jersey Shore town has its own personality, pace, and trade-offs. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming every shore town basically functions the same, because they really don't. Brigantine has a very specific identity, and for the right buyer, it can be an incredible long-term fit because there really aren't many shore towns left in South Jersey that combine quieter residential living, lower density, beach access, and proximity to major city environment quite the same way. And I'm curious, do you think Brigantine stays underrated long-term, or do you think more people are eventually going to figure it out? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And whether you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, or just trying to better understand how these different Jersey Shore towns actually function year-round, or what's a good fit for you, please feel free to reach out anytime. You can call, text, all my contact information is down below, and my team and I are always happy to help however we can.